Wideck here with another StarCraft 2 replay. This time it's from the RSL Finals. This is Game 1 of the Finals. And in the Finals we have two players from StarTale. So StarTale is going to win, or has won already. So in the bottom right we have the blue Zerg. And this is StarTale Life. In the top left we have Bomber spawning as the red Terran. Now this map is not a common map. This map is Cruz Frost, and it's a little bit different. It's pretty standard for your first, second, and third bases, but then your fourth base has this little three-way ravine, and it can get interesting if you have long range, especially if you spawn close to your opponent. Right now they're spawning cross position, so it's not that much of an impact, but Life was spawning in the bottom right, and if Bombers spawned in the top right, if the game did go into a more macro long oriented game, getting the fourth could be difficult, as if Bomber were to put a command center here, then he might be able to put siege tanks on this ramp and actually do some damage to Life's fourth base. So it is interesting that way. Zerg can counter with Broodlords, for example. If the game doesn't go to a macro game, then obviously it doesn't matter that much. Life is going to be spawning out the top right with his Overlord and sending a drone to the bottom left. He has a spawning pool already, and he did do the extractor trick to get an extra drone out. Actually, a few more drones out. And he's going to be going for early aggression with the Zerglings. Bombers actually open up with a CC on the ramp on high ground. So if he builds a barracks or a supply depot here, he should be able to fend off this attack. I don't think the Zerglings are going to be able to do very much. They might be able to pick off an SCV if the SCV is on the outside, do some damage to the supply depot. I guess one thing that might happen is, because the supply depot is on the right, this gives the Zerglings a few extra seconds to do damage to the supply depot, and the SCVs would not be able to repair. Now, it looks like one SCV goes down, another one is immediately there to build the barracks. And this is what I'm talking about. It's going to take a few more seconds to get over to the supply depot for the SCVs to repair. But the SCVs are there. The Zerglings are doing a bit of damage, but he's not going to be able to actually break down the supply depot. The barracks is almost done as well. Once the barrack is done, well, the second SCV goes down. Once the barrack is done, he can start. Bomber can start training Marines, and even though it's flaming, he can start training Marines, and this is going to basically halt this attack. I'm not sure what Life is going to do after this. He has no extractors, has no second hatchery. The orbital command is going up right in front of Life's face. Bomber is not phased at all. He knows all he needs to do is get one Marine out, and just keep repairing, and this attack is going to come to a standstill. He's training a second Marine. The orbital command is almost finished. Both orbital commands are almost finished. The Zerglings can't do anything as the Zerglings cannot penetrate this wall. It's very unfortunate. I mean, Life went 10 pool, and 10 pools generally are not that effective, and they're even less effective, especially when there are cross positions. So with Bomber spawning in the cross position, it takes an even longer time to traverse this area than it would have to go straight up or to straight left. So that's very unfortunate for Life. Once he committed to the 10 pool, even without knowing where Bomber was going to spawn, he had to go, and it didn't really work out. Now he's got 3 Marines hanging out at the ramp. Bomber has 5 SCVs on this, or now 4. Okay, he's taking the 2 to the other refinery. Life has started his second hatchery, but he's far, far behind, as if you take a look at the supply difference, Bomber already has mini supply advantage, but remember, he does have his second orbital up, though it's not landed at his expansion. But pretty soon, with this reactor coming in, there's going to be a lot of Marines, and now Bomber's electing to build a bunker at the bottom of the ramp so he can land that command center down there. The Zerglings are going to try and come here and get that cancel on the bunker. Bomber has to be careful here. If all the Zerglings just run in there, okay. Well, Bomber's built a second command center, or a second supply depot. The command center is weak. If he's not careful, the Zerglings might be able to pick it off. If he's not paying attention. The SCVs are going to relocate to the expansion, and the bunker's ready. The SCV is stuck in that position. Gonna empty that Marine, switch it out with the SCV. The SCV is still in there. Putting the factory down on the reactor. Gonna start building some Hellions, get rid of those Zerglings. And remember, because life was so delayed, he still does not have enough gas for Zergling speed. So Hellions are gonna be very effective until Zergling speed comes up. Bomber's building his 3rd command center. And he's getting a tech lab. I think he might be going for Banshees, possibly. Third command center is going up. Life is building more queens, getting his 2nd extractor up, but not much is going on in Zerg Town, which is highly unfortunate for Life. Bomber is building off a supply depot wall, and he has a 6 supply difference, so he's building up on that supply lead. And he's researching Cloak and bringing out the first Banshee and still building Hellions. Zergling speed still has not been started, so Life has given up Zergling speed. He's going to build some static defense as he knows there's going to be a counterattack. He knows he's behind by quite a bit. He's going for the Roach War, and Roaches can deal with Hellions. They can't deal with Banshees, unfortunately, so Life does not know that Banshees are coming in. And the funny thing is Bomber knows he has so much of a lead, and he has not even scouted his opponent. He doesn't even know where he has spawned, where his starting location is. He sees the creep now, so now he knows, but he doesn't even have to go in any further to find out what's going on, because he knows Life is really far behind. Looks like Life is going to go with the Nidus Network. He went in with the 10 pool, tried to do a lot of damage to finish the game that way. If the Nidus Network can come up, maybe he can have the Nidus Canal directly in Bomber's base, but I just see this 10 supply difference. I don't think Life's going to be able to do very much, especially since Bomber has Banshees coming out. And he's building lots of barracks right afterwards, so the Banshee's going to try and come in here with the Hellions, do some harass, do some damage. Can actually see the Nidus Worm immediately, so this is going to fail. So there goes a whole bunch of resources for Life. There's another Nidus Worm close to the base, but this won't have much of a surprise element because it's outside of his base. And the Hellions are roasting and feasting on a whole bunch of drones. He's killed 8 drones, 9 drones now, firing on some Zerglings, barbecuing some Zerg. It has killed 11 drones and a whole bunch of Zerglings, so... even though the units traded is about the same in resources, it is not close in the fact that Life was already far behind, losing some mining time as well. Building a Spore Crawler, because he knows the Banshees are there. And here comes the attack. The very slow Queens can take down the Banshee. The Banshee does not have Cloak, so he's not careful. Well, Life immediately sees the bunker, sees the wall off, sees a whole bunch of mines, and... chooses to GG. Life was really far behind. There wasn't much he could do, and this Banshee in the back was harassing as well, doing a lot of damage to the drone line. So once Life chose to do the 10 pool, and once it was a cross position especially, he wasn't able to do enough damage, wasn't able to kill Bomber. Bomber just had to play a standard game after that, and the game's over in only 11 minutes and 25 seconds. So let's go on to game 2.